Howdy, Cowboy Gamer here, and you're watching an episode on how to create, hopefully, a top tier PvP team for Pokemon Go. This is some theory, some basic assumptions laid in, but basically we know that Pokemon Go has battling in gyms. We're looking for it to add PvP eventually, where we will be able to battle friends, opponents, other teams, stuff like that. But uh, in this premise, we're making some assumptions. First off, it is going to be a team of six. This is a major assumption, but considering gym battling, we're already taking in teams of six. It's a pretty safe assumption. So that is one of the assumptions I am making, just because almost all Pokemon games have six Pokemon in your battle. That's how the main games are set up. That's how we're already fighting gyms. It kind of just makes sense to go with six, assuming all of this pans out correctly for Niantic. So, how do we make a good overall team of six? Well, first off, we get out the type chart. What's good against what? So I got a giant infographic just laying out like fire is good against grass and good against ice and good against bug. And I'm just looking at all this, and pretty much I went through each of the major types, not normal. I'm not going to look at Fairy's going to play a very light role in this, but I went through all of them but normal, and I kind of laid out how many types they're good against. So for instance, if you're looking at the graphic, fire is good against four types. It is good against grass, ice, bug, and steel. Water is good against fire, ground, and rock. So it has three good things that's super effective, and so on and so forth. Pretty much two things we really don't need to worry about is anything that's good against steel and dark aren't super useful, just because there is no steel type currently in the game. There is no dark type. Again, with all the rumors about the next generation of Pokemon coming out soon, we'll probably start seeing some dark and steel, but as of this moment, we don't have them, so we're not really going to use them highly. Yes, we might look at using a fire guy, and one of the things fire is good against is steel, but it's going to play a very minor role. It's not going to be the major thing we're looking at. So, after looking at all this, the best numbers are currently fire or dragon. Well, okay. Fire, ice, fighting, ground, and rock. These are some of the biggest ones. A couple do have, like fire, of course, has steel mixed in with it. And one of the other things that, well, these are the top five at least. So if we were just looking at a team of six, we'd throw in a Pokemon from each of these five types, and then maybe one of our choosing. My choosing is it's always going to be a dragon. Probably Dragonite has the highest DP or the highest CP in the entire game. So first and foremost, I'm going to make a team with Dragonite, and then these five moves. So a fire Pokemon, maybe a Flareon, Arcanine, an ice, probably Lapras, fighting, maybe Machamp, ground, well, technically for ground, it just has to have ground moves. So technically it could be a rock ground like Rhydon with Mud Slap Earthquake. So ground works really well. And then rock, I mean, we're probably looking again at a Golem or a Rhydon with a rock base set. Okay, so that's our basic starting six. We've got these six Pokemon in here. So what is this not good against? Pretty much you lay out the graph, you look at everything, you circle like, okay, some Pokemon are good against fire. What are we missing? From all this, we are missing water, fighting, psychic, ghost, and fairy. Fairy is definitely not a super important one, like I said before. Fairy, there are a couple Pokemon right now with fairy movesets. They only have like they're not really fast moves. They're always charge moves for fairy, and usually there's fairy type, and they have very low CPs overall in comparison to any of the top tier Pokemon. So we probably don't need to worry about fairy. However, looking at this setup, we are super weak to fighting. So we don't have any good attackers against fighting, and we're super weak to it. We can't kill water, and we can't kill psychic very fast either. But one of the things we notice is rock is covered by most of the other types. So we have fighting, we have counter to rock. Ground, we have a counter to rock. So we have something that counters rock pretty well in these other two Pokemon. But do we really? I mean, we've got some counter to rock, but what else is going to cause us problems in this? Let's look at the rock type that we have our rock Pokemon Rhydon with rock moves or whatever. We have fire, ice, flying, and bug. Well, fire is covered by ground. Ice is kind of covered by fire. Flying is covered by ice, and bug is covered by fire. So really, we don't need a rock Pokemon in here that does rock moves. We kind of can cover most of those bases with the other 5 Pokemon we have in the game. So, what has that done to us? We're still super weak to fighting. We have problems against water, psychic, and ghost. But now we have a dragon, fire, ice, fighting, and ground Pokemon with an undetermined 6th. So we're still really weak to water, psychic, ghost, and fighting. But one thing that is not super noticeable is we could put a fighting Pokemon in here, and it's good against ice, it's good against rock, it's good against normal. But the only normal Pokemon people are probably going to throw up in any gym or any battles is going to be Snorlax. And even then, Machamp can't really beat down a Snorlax too well. Yeah, he does super effective damage, but Snorlax can still just beat him in the face. So Machamp is really just kind of weak. His moves are all slow, and he's probably one of the better fighting in the game. There's a strong setup for Hitmonlee, but really, even these two just aren't really super positive. So let's kind of pull out the fighting. Let's pull out the fighting guys. So now we're down to a new team setup of Dragonite, Fire, Ice, Ground, and 2 undetermined. So we can look at our movesets. Movesets are a really interesting thing, and we're going to have to see how this pans out. But I am thinking that charge moves that have full bar charge moves, we're talking Thunder, Blizzard, just all of those, Fire Blast, they take up the full charge move. This might not be a very useful idea, just because when you were doing battles and you are fighting with, let's say, a Lapras, and you're attacking, you're charging up your Blizzard, and they swap in someone else, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to do very not effective damage to this Pokemon, and they're going to do super effective damage to me. Do I really want my Lapras still in here, or am I going to lose it? Maybe I want to swap out. If I swap out my Lapras for something else, that removes the charge meter. I can't pull back the Lapras and have that charge meter be as full as it was. So we're probably going to have to look at Pokemon with not so charge, like lesser charge moves, and not super weak ones like Dig. Yeah, you can, a full charge meter has 5 or 6 charges to Dig. But maybe ones with like 2 ofs and 3 ofs, like the Dragon Pulse or Dragon Claw type things, instead of like Hydro Pump, maybe Aqua Tail, things like that are not full charge moves. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm doing this yet, how I'm going to finalize it. Right now I'm just doing the full charge moves. So for my Lapras, because for ice, there's possible call for Cloyster, possible call for Slowbro, maybe I don't know, Psyduck, Golduck's evolution. But really, Lapras is just one of the kings of ice right now. So for right now, my Lapras is running Frost Breath, Blizzard. This will destroy dragons very well, but Blizzard, maybe I want to switch this out for one of his other charge moves that I can maybe fill up the charge meter and get off at a full attack rather than waiting for Blizzard to fully charge up, which is probably not going to happen if I have to switch them out. For right now, I'm for my rock, my ground attacker, I'm using Mudslap, Earthquake, Rhydon. Again, might have to pull out Earthquake and do some other charge move. But I got my Dragonite, possibly going to have Steel Wing, Dragon Pulse, or Dragon Claw. I don't know yet. Just because I'm looking at all this and I don't know if I want Dragon. I might want to have a Steel Wing just because I don't have a Steel attacker, and Steel would give me more versatility in my movesets with Dragonite with a Steel Wing. So, after kind of looking at this, we probably throw in a Fire Pokemon, maybe just a Flareon with Ember Fire Blast or something. And so, we're looking at all of this, and we're looking at what are we kind of weak against, what isn't covered very well. If we're having fire and I go up against ice, technically fire's good against ice, but most ice in this game is currently paired with water, other than like Jinx. So we're not really good with ice. We're still having trouble with fighting Psychic, Bug, and Ghost. Water and Grass is pretty... grass is difficult because when you go up against like a Lapras, yeah, it does a super effective damage against a grass Pokemon, but since most are water also, grass is doing super effective against them. So just a real hassle. But really what I'm looking at right here is what isn't covered is Psychic and Ghost for now. One great moveset does good damage against both Psychic and Ghost. And I'm looking at Bite. Bite comes on multiple Pokemon. Arcanine and Gyarados both have it very well. And with that one Pokemon throwing in Bite, I'm now kind of covered against a Psychic or a Ghost Pokemon easily with a Gyarados or an Arcanine. I'm not super decisive yet on this, but it might go with the Arcanine and keep a fire-based charge move, or it might go the Gyarados with the Hydro Pump to add water-based. So we're playing it by ear right now. So what still isn't covered very well? Grass is still difficult without like the fire-based of the Arcanine. Fighting is still a problem. Bug isn't covered well if we're not doing fire, and water again is still pretty good. So let's throw in Charizard as let's maybe put our fire guy and let's do Charizard. Should we just do Ember Fire Blast? Well, I've been saying already that I don't like the full charge moves, so let's go with the Flying Fire moveset. Let's go Wing Attack, Flamethrower maybe. A little weaker on the charge move, but you could get off more. And Wing Attack covers some grass and bug pretty well. So what we're still having problems against water Pokemon. So let's just throw in some sort of grass Pokemon as well, and let's relook at this whole team. Just kind of give it a once over. So after all of this manipulation, we are currently, our team that we're looking at is a Dragonite, which has high DPS, probably a Steel Wing Dragon move, Lapras with Frost Breath and not Blizzard, but another Ice move, Rhydon with Mudslap and Earthquake, but probably a weaker Earth move. Charizard with Wing Attack and probably a Flamethrower. Gyarados with Bite, Hydro Pump, and then for our grass, let's go Executor with Zen Headbutt and Solar Beam. This covers water pretty well. So, after looking at all that, we still have some weaknesses. So, we go through all of our Pokemon again, every single type. And I'm just doing a 1-for-1. If one of the Pokemon has a type and it's weak to it, I am making a notation. So what we're doing is we're looking through the type chart, and let's look at Dragonite. Dragons are bad against Ice, Dragon, and Fairy. So Ice, Dragon, and Fairy are getting notes. So I have 1 for Ice, 1 for Fairy, and 1 for Dragon. We go through, we go to Lapras. Is Ice, Water. So Ice is bad to Fire, Fighting, Rock, Steel. So we pair that up, and now we have 1 for each of those. We go through this entire thing, and we are left with 5 weaknesses to Ice, 2 to Fire, 2 to Fighting, 4 to Rock, 2 to Steel, 4 to Grass, 4 to Electric, 3 to Water, 2 to Ground, 1 to Poison, 1 to Flying, 2 to Bug, 1 to Ghost, 1 to Dark. So clearly the higher numbers, Ice, Rock, Grass, and Electric, are all really, really some things we need to watch out for. So this is kind of where I am now with my my team. I'm going to refine it more, which continues. You just keep refining, keep refining. You need to figure out one Pokemon to take out, and then we're going to put something in that kind of covers the ice problem or the rock, grass, electric. We're gonna kind of see what's causing us a problem. One thing to notice is steel does good against ice and rock, and since these are ice is a 5 and rock is a 4, maybe we do want to throw in the Dragonite with a steel-based attack. That kind of takes away that weakness a little bit. So if someone does throw up an ice or a rock Pokemon, we bring out our Dragonite with Steel Wing, and then we're kind of crushing it down. So we're definitely pushing for the Dragonite with Steel Wing as an attack. So that's where we are at this moment. I will continue in part 2, and we'll refine this team even more, and we'll kind of lay everything out, and we'll show you guys where we're all at the end of hopefully part 2. It's been Cowboy Gamer, and hopefully you're trying to be the best.